She was just a humble black employee until her millionaire boss saw her helping the homeless and changed everything. Subscribe and tell us where you're watching us from today. The sound of ringing phones and typing on keyboards filled the big office at Sterling Enterprises. Lillian Carter, a young woman with brown hair, tucked a strand behind her ear as she sorted the morning mail. She was 32 years old and not where she had hoped to be in life, but she was thankful for her job as an assistant. Her salary helped her take care of herself and her younger brother, Lucas, who was struggling to finish college after their parents passed away 3 years ago. "Lillian, did you finish the Henderson report?" asked Diane, her boss, as she walked quickly past Lillian's desk. "Yes, I left it on your desk this morning," Lillian replied with a smile. But Diane was already gone. That was how things worked at Sterling Enterprises. It was a fast and busy place, and people were always too focused on their own work to notice each other. Lillian checked her watch. 5 more hours until she could go to the place she loved the most, Hope Street Kitchen, a shelter where she helped serve food to people who had no homes. She volunteered there 3 nights a week. On the top floor of the same building, Cassian Sterling stood by his window, looking at the city. He was 40 years old and one of the most successful businessmen in the country. His dark hair had a little silver at the sides, and his blue eyes were full of confidence. He had built Sterling Enterprises from nothing after being homeless 20 years ago, but almost no one knew that part of his story. "Cassian, the board is waiting," said his assistant Michael from the doorway. Cassian nodded. "Tell them I'll be there in a minute." The meeting was like all the others, talking about money, new business deals, and buying other companies. He was good at his job, but lately something felt missing. "Our community outreach numbers are low," said Caroline, the public relations head. "We need to do something real, not just write a check for taxes." Cassian raised an eyebrow. "Any suggestions?" "There's a shelter called Hope Street Kitchen," Caroline said. "They help a lot of people, but don't have enough money. Maybe we should support them." Cassian made a note. "I'll visit them myself." That evening, Lillian was stirring a big pot of soup at Hope Street Kitchen. She had changed into jeans and a simple t-shirt, her brown hair tied back in a ponytail. "Lillian, you're an angel," said Joe, an older man who had lost his home 2 years ago. "No one makes soup like you." Lillian laughed. "It's just canned soup with extra veggies, Joe." "It's the love you put into it," he insisted before moving forward in line. She didn't see the tall man standing near the entrance, watching her. Cassian had come in dressed casually, with a baseball cap pulled low over his face. He wanted to see the place without anyone knowing who he was. The shelter was old, the paint was peeling, and the kitchen equipment looked very old, but there was something special about the place. And right at the center of it was a woman with a warm smile, Lillian. "Can I help you?" asked an older woman as she walked up to Cassian. "I'm just looking," he said. "Is it always this busy?" "Every night," she replied. "I'm Martha, the director. Do you need food or a place to sleep?" Cassian shook his head. "No, I'm thinking of making a donation. Who's that woman serving soup?" "That's Lillian. She volunteers here 3 times a week. She works full-time too, poor thing, but she never complains." Cassian watched as Lillian bent down to talk to a small boy. She made him laugh even though his clothes were torn. There was something about her, kindness that couldn't be faked. The next morning, Lillian rushed into work. She had stayed up late helping her brother with his schoolwork. "Lillian," called Diane, "Mr. Sterling wants to see you." Lillian froze. "The Mr. Sterling? Why would the boss want to see her?" "Top floor. Don't keep him waiting," Diane said. Lillian's heart pounded as she rode the elevator. In 5 years at the company, she had never seen Cassian Sterling in person. What could he want? Cassian was looking at files when his assistant led Lillian in. He looked up and recognized her immediately. "Miss Carter, thank you for coming. Please, have a seat." Lillian sat nervously. "Did I do something wrong, Mr. Sterling?" Cassian smiled. Not at all. I've been looking for someone special for a new job. I visited Hope Street Kitchen last night. Lillian's eyes widened. You were there? I didn't see you. I like to watch without being seen sometimes, he said. I was impressed by what I saw, especially you. Lillian felt nervous. Thank you, but I don't understand. I'm starting a new department for helping the community. I need someone who really cares, not just someone who does charity for show. I want you to lead it. Lillian's mouth fell open. Me? But I'm just an assistant. I don't have the right experience. You have exactly the experience I need, Cassian said. You understand the real needs of people. The rest can be learned. Lillian was shocked. This is unexpected. The job comes with a big raise, Cassian added. Take the weekend to think about it. That night, Lillian told her brother about the meeting. Are you kidding? Lucas shouted. This is your big break. Lillian paced the small apartment. Why me? And how did he even know about the shelter? Who cares? Lucas said. This could change our lives. Lillian thought about the shelter. They needed a new stove. People like Joe needed food. With this new job, she could do more to help. Maybe you're right, she said, but something feels strange. On Monday morning, she walked into Cassian's office. I'll take the job, she said, but on one condition. Cassian raised an eyebrow. I'm listening. I want to know why you really picked me, Lillian said. There must be people more qualified. Cassian thought for a moment. Have dinner with me tonight, and I'll tell you. Lillian blinked. Dinner? To discuss the job? Cassian clarified. Unless you'd rather meet in the office? Lillian sighed. Dinner is fine, but this is professional, right? Cassian smiled. Completely professional. That evening, Lillian sat in one of the fanciest restaurants in the city, feeling out of place. Cassian looked different outside the office, less like a serious businessman and more like a real person. You look uncomfortable, he said. I've never been to a place this expensive, Lillian admitted. We can leave if you want, he offered. She was surprised by his kindness. No, it's fine, but tell me. Why me? Cassian put down his glass. When I was 16, I was homeless. For almost a year, I lived on the streets near Hope Street Kitchen. Someone helped me when I needed it most. That's why I built my company. But somewhere along the way, I forgot what really matters. When I saw you at the shelter, I remembered. You have kindness without pity. That's rare. Lillian's heart softened. I still think there are people more qualified. Maybe, Cassian said, but none with your heart. As she rode home that night, Lillian felt excited and nervous. This job could change her life. But the way Cassian looked at her like she was someone special, that could change everything too. After that, their talk became easier. They talked about the shelter, Lillian's brother, and Cassian's plan to help more people. By the time dessert came, Lillian felt like she was seeing the real Cassian Sterling, and she liked what she saw. So, do we have a deal? Cassian asked as they left the restaurant. Lillian nodded. Yes, but I want to be clear. I don't want to be anyone's charity case. I will work hard and earn my place. I would expect nothing less, Cassian said. He looked at her a little longer than usual. As Lillian's taxi drove away, she felt both excited and nervous. This job could change everything for her brother Lucas, and for the people at Hope Street. But the way Cassian looked at her, the kindness in his eyes when they talked about her work, might change things in a way she never expected. Lillian's first day at her new job made her a little nervous. She had moved from a small desk in a shared office to a big corner office on the top floor. On the door, there was a sign that said, Lillian Carter, Director of Community Outreach. It didn't feel real. Too much? Cassian asked, standing at the door. Lillian jumped. Mr. Sterling. I mean, Cassian smiled. We are colleagues now, not boss and assistant. Cassian, Lillian said. The name felt strange in her mouth. It's a lot to take in. You'll get used to it. I set up meetings for you with the PR and finance teams. By the end of the week, I need your first plan for an outreach project. So soon? Lillian's eyes got big. You already know what's needed, Cassian said. Trust yourself. As he walked away, Lillian noticed how different he seemed. People said he was a cold and scary boss, but with her, he was kind. People started talking about Lillian's promotion. By lunchtime, the rumors had spread. Did you hear? Vanessa from marketing whispered in the break room. Lillian Carter must be dating Cassian Sterling. Why else would he give her that job? Lillian was getting coffee nearby. Her face turned red, but she stood tall. She walked past them and said, Actually, Mr. Sterling saw my work at Hope Street Kitchen. He made this job because he believes in helping people. But thanks for worrying about my skills. Back in her office, Lillian tried to focus, but the whispers upset her. She knew people wouldn't understand, but she didn't expect them to say such things. A knock on her door. It was Caroline from PR, a smart, serious woman who did her job well. I hear I have to teach you how things work, Caroline said, not smiling. Though I don't understand why Cassian made this job when my team already handles donations. Lillian sat up straight. I think Cassian wants to be more involved. I'd love your help. By showing Caroline respect, Lillian turned her from an enemy into a friend. By the end of the meeting, Caroline even seemed a little impressed. You're not what I expected, Caroline admitted. I get that a lot, Lillian said with a small smile. That evening, Lillian went back to Hope Street Kitchen. Martha, an older woman who worked there, smiled at her. Lillian, Joe told me you got a big job, a promotion. It's complicated, Lillian said as she put on an apron, but I think I can help more people now. As she served food, she noticed Cassian standing nearby watching her. This time, she went to him. Checking up on me? She asked. Cassian shook his head, just reminding myself why this matters. They served meals together. Here, Cassian looked different, more relaxed, happier. When an old woman thanked him, he smiled in a way Lillian had never seen before. You're good at this, Lillian said. I've had practice, Cassian said softly. Later, as they walked to their cars, Cassian asked, How was your first day? Lillian hesitated. Tough. Some people think I didn't earn my job, Cassian frowned. Who said that? It doesn't matter, Lillian said. I'll prove them wrong. Cassian looked at her. Most people would complain or ask for my help. I'm not most people, Lillian said. Cassian nodded. No, you're not. The next morning, Diane, Lillian's old boss, visited her office. Nice view, Diane said. Must be nice to skip ahead while the rest of us worked for years. Lillian sighed. What do you want, Diane? Diane shrugged. Just wondering how long this will last. Men like Sterling get bored fast. One day you're special. The next day, you're forgotten. After Diane left, Lillian felt uneasy. What if she was right? What if Cassian lost interest, professionally or otherwise? She pushed the thought away and focused on work. She stayed up all night researching. The next morning, she presented her ideas to Cassian. Job training for homeless people, affordable housing, and food services. Cassian smiled. This is perfect. You didn't just throw money at the problem, you found real solutions. Lillian felt proud. I'd like to start with Hope Street Kitchen. They need new equipment. Done, Cassian said. What else? A job program for people in the shelter. Many have skills but need a chance. Cassian leaned back. You really care about this, don't you? Lillian challenged. Cassian looked out the window. I used to, but sitting in an office makes you forget. Their eyes met and Lillian felt a strange flutter in her chest. The next few weeks were busy. Lillian worked long hours. The shelter's renovation began, and Cassian insisted on helping. They spent nights planning and working together. You always talk about Cassian, Lucas teased one evening. It's not like that, Lillian said, blushing. So why do you smile every time you say his name? Lillian threw a pillow at him. Focus on your schoolwork, nosy. But she wondered, was she falling for Cassian? The shelter's grand reopening came quickly. Everything was perfect. New stoves, fridges, tables. When Cassian arrived, he looked nice in casual clothes. He stood beside Lillian. Nervous? He asked. A little, she admitted. Cassian's hand brushed hers. You made this happen. Be proud. The event was a success. Lillian gave a speech. Then a tall, beautiful woman walked in. She went straight to Cassian and kissed his cheeks. Cassian, darling, she said loudly. So this is where you've been hiding. Cassian's face changed. Victoria, I wasn't expecting you. Your secretary told me I'd find you here. A homeless shelter, really? What would your father say? Lillian stepped forward. I'm Lillian Carter, Director of Community Outreach. Catherine looked at Lillian's simple dress. Catherine Winters. Cassian and I have known each other forever. Our families always thought we'd end up together. Lillian's stomach felt tight. Cassian had never mentioned Victoria. Lillian is leading our new community projects, Cassian said. Catherine linked arms with him. How sweet. Now come on, I made dinner plans at Marcel's. The Andersons were waiting for them. Lillian saw that Cassian looked unsure. You should go, she said quietly. We are done here. Lillian. Cassian started, but she stopped him. It's okay, she insisted. This is your world. Cassian left with Victoria. Lillian felt silly. She had thought Cassian saw her as someone special. She thought they had something different. But seeing him with Victoria, who was from his world, reminded her of the truth. Later that night, as Lillian was closing the shelter, she heard footsteps behind her. You left, she said without turning. She knew it was Cassian. I shouldn't have gone with her, Cassian said, standing beside her. Catherine and I dated years ago, but it didn't work out. You don't have to explain, Lillian said, finally looking at him. We are just co-workers. Cassian stepped closer. Is that all we are, Lillian? Her heart beat fast. That's all we should be. That's not what I asked, Cassian said softly. The air between them felt heavy, like something was about to happen. For a moment, Lillian thought he might kiss her. But then his phone rang. It was Victoria. The moment was broken. I should go, Lillian said quickly. It's late. As she drove home, she realized she was in trouble. She was falling for Cassian. He was from a different world, a world where he could give her a job one day and take it away the next. What she didn't know was that Cassian stood in the empty shelter for a long time after she left. He didn't answer Victoria's call. He was thinking about Lillian and what she meant to him. After the Hope Street kitchen was renovated, many people talked about it. Sterling Enterprises got a lot of good attention. Lillian had to give interviews and attend charity events. She was perfect for it because she truly cared about the work. You've made her famous, Caroline told Cassian at a fundraiser. They watched Lillian talk to a group of donors. She was smiling and confident. The board is impressed. Cassian watched her carefully. She's real. That's why people like her. Caroline gave him a knowing look. And that's why you like her? Cassian didn't answer, but he didn't deny it either. Across the room, Lillian was trying to raise money for their next project, a job training center. She worked hard, hoping it would keep her mind off Cassian and her confusion about him. Miss Carter, a deep voice called. Lillian turned. It was Henry Winters, an important man from the board of directors. May I have a word? He asked. Lillian smiled and nodded. Of course, Mr. Winters. You've made quite an impression, he said, looking at her closely. Cassian speaks highly of you. That's kind of him, Lillian replied. I love the work we're doing. Yes, I can see that. But his smile wasn't friendly. My daughter Victoria mentioned meeting you. She and Cassian have history. Lillian kept her polite smile, but she felt nervous. That's none of my business, sir. Henry stepped closer. Let me be clear, Miss Carter. Cassian has responsibilities to his family and this company. His father was my best friend. We always hoped Catherine and Cassian would get back together. Lillian kept her face calm, but her stomach hurt. Again, that's not my business, she said. Maybe not, Henry said. But people are talking. You got this job very quickly. It would be a shame if people thought it was because of Cassian's personal feelings. Lillian felt her face grow hot. My work speaks for itself, Mr. Winters. I'm sure it does, he said smoothly. I'd hate for Cassian's choices to be questioned, or for you to get hurt when he goes back to where he belongs. Before Lillian could answer, Cassian appeared beside her. Henry, he said coolly, I hope you're not keeping my outreach director too long. Henry smiled, but it didn't look real. Just getting to know her. Your father would be proud of your charity work, Cassian. With one last glance at Lillian, he walked away. What was that about? Cassian asked. Lillian shook her head. Nothing important. She wouldn't tell him about Henry's warning. That night, she couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about what Henry had said. Was she just a short-term project for Cassian? Would he eventually go back to someone like Victoria? Her phone buzzed. A message from Cassian. You were amazing tonight. Breakfast meeting tomorrow at 8 a.m. at Milo's. Lillian sighed. These casual meetings were becoming dangerous for her heart. The next morning, Lillian met Cassian at Milo's cafe. He looked tired but happy. The event raised over $2 million, he said. Your job training center is fully funded. Lillian's eyes widened. Really? That's amazing. You made it happen, Cassian said warmly. Jeff, you've changed the company, Lillian. You've changed me. His gaze made her heart race. She looked away. I should thank you for the opportunity. Is something wrong? Cassian asked. You seem distant. Lillian hesitated. Then she decided to be honest. I met Victoria's father last night. He had some interesting things to say about you two. Cassian's face darkened. Henry needs to mind his own business. Is it true? Lillian asked quietly. Are you and Catherine supposed to be together? Cassian sighed. Our families think so, but I never really loved her. We made sense on paper, but that's it. Lillian nodded. I think we should be careful about spending time together outside work. Cassian looked hurt. Because of what Henry said? Because of what everyone is saying, Lillian corrected. I need people to know I got this job because of my skills. Cassian sighed. I don't care what people think. But I do, Lillian said firmly. Cassian studied her, then nodded. If that's what you want. It wasn't what she wanted. But she knew it was the right thing. Weeks passed. Lillian and Cassian only saw each other in meetings. She worked hard on the job training center. Cassian focused on a big business deal. One night, Lillian's phone rang. It was her brother, Lucas. I need help, he said. His voice was full of pain. I fell down the stairs. I think my leg is broken. Lillian rushed to the hospital. The doctor told her Lucas needed surgery, but insurance wouldn't cover everything. Lillian didn't have enough money. Desperate, she called Cassian. Lillian, it's midnight, Cassian said, sounding concerned. I'm sorry, she said, her voice shaking. Lucas is hurt. I need help. Where are you? Cassian asked immediately. Mercy Hospital. But Cassian, it's a lot of money. I'm on my way. 30 minutes later, Cassian arrived. He was still in his suit from work. Without a word, he hugged Lillian tight. Tell me everything. Cassian paid for Lucas's surgery. Lillian promised to pay him back. Don't be silly, Cassian said. This is what friends do. Friends, Lillian repeated. The word felt too small. Just then, Catherine arrived. Cassian, you disappeared from dinner. Cassian sighed. Something more important came up. Catherine looked between them. I see. After she left, Lillian whispered, You should go. I'm staying, Cassian said. You know why. Lillian and Cassian waited all night at the hospital to hear about Lucas's surgery. By morning, they were very tired but happy to know the surgery went well. Something had changed between them, but neither of them said it out loud. When Lillian finally got home to shower and change, she saw a message from Caroline. It said, Emergency at the office. Board meeting called. You need to come now. Lillian rushed to Sterling Enterprises, where Caroline met her in the lobby. What's happening? Lillian asked. Caroline looked serious. Henry Winters is causing trouble. He's questioning the money going to your programs. He thinks Cassian is making bad decisions. Lillian felt worried. Because of me? Not just you, Caroline said. Cassian has been making choices that help people, not just making money. The older board members don't like it. When Lillian walked into the boardroom, the room went silent. Cassian sat at the head of the table, looking angry. Henry Winters sat next to him, looking pleased. "Miss Carter," Henry said, "thank you for coming. We were talking about why so much money is going to your programs." Lillian stood tall. "My programs bring good attention to this company. We are helping people, and that's good for business." Henry shook his head. "That sounds nice, but this is a company, not a charity." "It can be both," Lillian said. "The people we help today will support our company tomorrow. That's smart business." Some board members nodded in agreement. Henry frowned. "And what about your relationship with the CEO? Does that change how money is given to your programs?" The room became very quiet. Cassian was about to speak, but Lillian raised her hand. "My relationship with Mr. Sterling is professional," she said firmly. "But yes, we share the same dream for this company, to do good, not just make money. If that bothers you, maybe this is not the right company for you." Henry's face turned red. "You dare!" "She's right," Cassian interrupted. "My father built this company to make money, but also to make a difference. We forgot that." Lillian reminded me, "If anyone doesn't agree with my vision, they are free to leave." After some talking, the board agreed to keep Lillian's programs. Henry was the only one who disagreed. As people left, Cassian stopped Lillian. "That was brave. That was scary," Lillian admitted with a nervous laugh, "but it had to be done." Cassian smiled. "We make a good team." Lillian nodded but stepped back. "I need to go back to the hospital. Lucas will wake up soon." "I'll drive you," Cassian offered. In the car, Lillian finally asked the question on her mind. "Cassian, what are we doing? Catherine thinks—" "I don't care what Catherine thinks," Cassian interrupted, "or Henry or the board or anyone else." "You should," Lillian said. "They are your world." Cassian pulled the car to the side and looked at her. "You are my world now, Lillian. Watching you work, seeing how much you care, you've changed everything." Lillian's heart raced. "Cassian, I'm falling in love with you," he said simply, "and I think you feel the same." Before Lillian could answer, Cassian's phone rang. Henry Winters was calling. Cassian ignored it and kept looking at her. "Say something." Lillian took a deep breath. "I'm scared," she admitted, "not just about what people will say, but about losing everything. This job, this work, it matters so much." "We won't lose it," Cassian promised. "You don't know that," Lillian whispered. "And there's Victoria." "There is no Victoria," Cassian said. "Not for me." Lillian's phone rang. "The hospital. Lucas is awake. I have to go." Cassian nodded and started the car again. "We'll talk later." When Lillian reached the hospital, she was shocked to see Catherine sitting next to Lucas, talking happily. "Catherine brought me magazines," Lucas said, "and she told me funny stories about Cassian when they were kids." Lillian looked at Catherine. "Why are you here?" Catherine smiled. "I thought your brother might like company. Can we talk outside?" In the hallway, Catherine's friendly face disappeared. "My father told me about the board meeting. You're quite the fighter." "I was just doing my job," Lillian said. "Let's be honest," Catherine said. "We both know you like Cassian, but how far will you go for him?" Lillian folded her arms. "What do you mean? Cassian's position is weak right now. My father has enough power to cause trouble, but if Cassian marries into our family, the trouble goes away." Lillian felt cold. "You're talking about marriage?" Catherine smiled. "Cassian and I make sense together, always have. If we marry, your programs continue with my full support. But if you and Cassian continue, well, my father won't be happy." "That's blackmail," Lillian whispered. "That's business," Catherine said. "Think about it, Lillian. What's more important, Cassian or the people who need you?" As Catherine walked away, Lillian leaned against the wall, feeling like she had no choice. She loved Cassian. But was love worth losing everything? When Cassian arrived later, Lillian had already made her decision. The hardest one of her life. "We need to talk," she said, leading him to a quiet corner. Cassian took her hands. "About what I said in the car." "I can't do this," Lillian said, pulling her hands away. "Us. It's too complicated." Cassian's face fell. What happened? Did Catherine say something? This isn't about Victoria, Lillian lied. It's about our work. It's too important to risk. I don't believe you, Cassian said. Something changed. Lillian forced herself to stay strong. Nothing changed. I just thought clearly. We come from different worlds, Cassian. Let's be realistic. Since when do you care about that? He asked. Since I realized what's at stake, Lillian said, her voice breaking. Please, Cassian, accept this. Cassian's eyes darkened. Fine. If that's what you want, I'll see you at work, Miss Carter. As he walked away, Lillian felt her heart breaking. But Catherine's words echoed in her mind. The work mattered more than love. What Lillian didn't know was that Cassian had seen Catherine leaving the hospital earlier, and he wasn't going to give up without finding out what really changed Lillian's mind. The week after Lillian made her choice was very hard for her. At work, Cassian was cold and only spoke to her when he had to. The friendly way they used to talk was gone. Now, they only nodded at each other and had short, serious talks. Lucas, Lillian's brother, noticed she was sad. When he came home from the hospital, he asked, "What happened with you and Cassian? He hasn't visited since that day, and you look really unhappy." Lillian forced a smile. "Nothing happened. We're just busy with work." Lucas raised an eyebrow. "You're a terrible liar, Em. Always have been. Is it because of that woman, Victoria? The one who kept talking about how she and Cassian were supposed to get married?" Lillian looked up, shocked. "What exactly did she say to you?" Lucas shrugged. "She said her father and Cassian's father always planned for them to marry. Their families had some kind of agreement." Lillian sank onto the couch. "Catherine said she would make her father take away all of our charity programs if Cassian and I, if you fell in love." "If you fell in love?" Lucas finished. "Which you already have." Lillian covered her face. "It doesn't matter. I ended it before it could really start." "That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard," Lucas said. "You're giving up on love because of a rich, mean girl's threats?" "I'm protecting the work that matters," Lillian said firmly. "And what about what matters to you?" Lucas asked. "You always take care of others, me, the people at the shelter. When are you going to fight for yourself?" Lillian had no answer. Meanwhile, at his office, Cassian was also having a tough conversation. He called Catherine in and asked, "What did you do?" Catherine raised an eyebrow. "I have no idea what you're talking about." "Lillian was fine until she talked to you. Then, suddenly, she ended things with me. What did you say to her?" Catherine sighed and looked at her nails. "I just told her some facts. My father controls a lot of shares in this company. The charity programs only exist because the board allows them." "You threatened her," Cassian said angrily. "I gave her a choice," Catherine corrected. "Her work or a hopeless love story with you. She made the smart choice." Cassian's hands clenched into fists. "You don't get to make that decision. Not for me, not for her, not for this company." "Cassian, be reasonable," Catherine said, looking nervous. "Our family's always planned." "I don't care what our family's planned," Cassian snapped. "This is my life, my company, and Lillian is the person I love." Victoria's face turned pale. "My father won't be happy." "Your father doesn't control me," Cassian said, "and after today, he'll have less power in this company." "What do you mean?" Catherine asked. Cassian smirked. "I've spoken to the board. They support my vision and Lillian's. Your father is getting voted out tomorrow." Catherine gasped. "You can't do that." "I already have," Cassian said. "Now, if you'll excuse me, I have someone important to find." Lillian was at Hope Street Kitchen helping serve food to people in need. At least here, she could forget her broken heart for a little while. "You look tired," Martha, an older volunteer, said, handing Lillian a tray. Lillian smiled weakly. "Just a little." "More like heartbroken," Martha said. "What happened to that handsome CEO of yours?" Lillian sighed. "He was never mine, Martha." "Could have fooled me," Martha said. "The way he looked at you." Before Lillian could answer, the shelter doors opened. Cassian walked in, looking straight at her. "Lillian," he called. walking toward her. We need to talk. The whole kitchen went silent. Everyone watched. I'm working, Lillian said, trying to stay calm. It's important, Cassian insisted. Martha took the tray from Lillian's hands. Go on, honey. I got this. Cassian took Lillian to a quiet corner. Catherine told me what she said to you. Lillian tensed. Cassian, she threatened the programs if we were together. She has no power now, Cassian said. Her father is being removed from the board tomorrow. Lillian's eyes widened. You can do that? I can, and I did, Cassian said. No one threatens the people I care about, especially not you. Lillian felt hope, but quickly pushed it away. Even so, we come from different worlds. People will always talk. I don't care, Cassian said. Lillian, you changed my life. You reminded me what truly matters. I love you. Tears filled Lillian's eyes. I love you too, but I'm afraid. Of what? Cassian asked. Of not being enough. Of losing everything if this doesn't work. Cassian shook his head. We'll be stronger together, don't you think? Lillian looked into his eyes and realized Lucas was right. She had spent her life taking care of others. Maybe it was time to take care of herself. Yes, she said. I think we would. Cassian pulled her close and kissed her. The shelter burst into cheers and applause. 6 months later, the charity had grown even bigger. Catherine and her father moved to Europe. Lucas was finishing his degree in social work. Lillian and Cassian sat in the park eating lunch. She handed him a small box. What's this? Cassian asked. A key, Lillian said. To our apartment, if you want to move in. Cassian stared at her, then pulled out a small box of his own. He opened it, revealing a diamond ring. I was going to propose in Paris, he admitted, but this is better. Lillian, will you marry me? Tears spilled down Lillian's cheeks. Yes, she whispered. Yes. Cassian slipped the ring onto her finger. I'm keeping the key idea, he said. Our place, not just mine or yours. Ours. Lillian laughed. I wouldn't have it any other way. A week later, they had their engagement party at the shelter. Corporate executives mingled with former homeless people. Lucas told everyone how his sister fell in love with her boss. You made your father proud, Cassian's stepmother told him. Not for the company's success, but for the man you've become. Cassian watched Lillian, smiling. It took me a long time to understand what he was teaching me. Later, Martha told Lillian, I knew Cassian before, when he was homeless. Lillian was shocked. He never said that. Martha nodded. He was just a scared kid, but he worked hard. I knew he'd do something great one day. That night, Lillian told Cassian. He looked across the room at Martha and recognized her. She helped me get my first job, he whispered. She changed my life. Lillian smiled. Maybe we were always meant to find each other. Cassian pulled her close. Maybe. Or maybe we just saw something in each other that no one else did. As they stood together, Lillian knew she had finally found happiness. And this time, she was brave enough to hold on to it. Thanks for watching. If you like the story, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Check out our other videos too. See you in the next one.